Lust is more than just a fleeting desire, it's a force that can completely take over your life. Have you ever wondered how something that seems so natural can lead to such destruction? It pulls you in, promises satisfaction, and then leaves you emptier than before. The truth is, lust isn't just about a desire for physical pleasure. It's a deep craving that chains your heart and mind, trapping you in a cycle of constant wanting. What if I told you that every time you indulge, you lose a little more of yourself? Lust doesn't just control your actions, it starts to control who you are, twisting your very identity. It promises freedom, yet it's a lie. What begins as a harmless thought can quickly turn into a master you can no longer escape. But here's the good news. Breaking free from this cycle is possible. It requires a radical shift in how we view desire, and more importantly, how we choose to respond to it. The first step, understanding how lust operates and how it can be overcome. Stick with me, because by the end you'll know exactly what it takes to reclaim your freedom and live with purpose. Lust can control your life, but it doesn't have to. Discover the 7 biblical secrets to destroy lust before it destroys you. Want to break free? Grab my ebook now in the description. Lust is often portrayed as a mere desire for physical pleasure, but it's far deeper and far more destructive than that. It starts as a simple craving, a fleeting thought that seems harmless, but once it's allowed to take root, it grows into something much more dangerous, something that begins to define your very actions and thoughts. The truth is, lust isn't just a desire for satisfaction, it's a powerful force that twists your mind, manipulates your emotions, and leads you down a path of self-destruction. When we indulge in lust, we aren't just seeking a fleeting moment of pleasure. We're trying to fill an emptiness that no physical experience can ever truly satisfy. Lust promises fulfillment, but the more we feed it, the more it demands. It's a hunger that never ends, a constant cycle of wanting more, only to be left empty once again. The deeper we go into it, the more we lose touch with our true selves. We become slaves to a craving that never stops calling, convincing us that the next fix will finally bring peace, but it never does. Lust distorts our perception of love, relationships, and even our own worth. It convinces us that our value lies in satisfying our own desires at any cost, often at the expense of those around us. It encourages objectification, reducing human connection to mere transactions, where the focus is on personal gain rather than genuine care or respect. What was meant to be a sacred bond becomes tainted, leading to brokenness, disconnection, and pain. As we continue to indulge in lust, it becomes more than just a behavior. It becomes part of our identity. The shame, guilt, and hidden struggles grow heavier with each indulgence, shackling us to a life of secrecy and shame. What starts as a momentary weakness becomes a powerful force, shaping how we see ourselves and others, and ultimately how we live. Lust is not just a temptation to be resisted, it is a prison to be escaped. The good news is that freedom is possible, but it begins with understanding the true nature of lust. Recognizing it for what it is, a destructive desire that leads nowhere but to more pain, is the first step in breaking free. The path to liberation begins with a shift in focus, choosing not to be led by fleeting passions, but by a higher purpose, one that brings true fulfillment and peace. Only then can we break the chains and reclaim our true identity. Lust is a deceptive master, one that promises freedom and fulfillment, yet delivers nothing but chains. It begins innocently, a passing thought, an unnoticed glance, and before long, it consumes your mind. Lust doesn't just exist in the physical realm, it takes root in your heart, influencing how you think, how you see others, and ultimately, how you live. It's not just a momentary lapse, it's a gradual process of becoming a slave to your own desire. What makes lust so dangerous is how it sneaks in unnoticed. You might think you have control, that you can indulge for just a moment, and walk away unscathed, but each time you give in, you give up a piece of yourself. The more you feed it, the more it grows, and soon what seemed like a harmless indulgence becomes an insatiable need. It twists your perception of what's real, and leaves you wanting more, always more, and in the end you're left hollow, unable to break free. The real danger of lust lies in how it shifts your focus. It clouds your ability to see others as they truly are, unique individuals created in God's image. Lust reduces people to objects, tools for your satisfaction, and in doing so, it erodes your ability to love genuinely. You start to chase fleeting pleasures that leave you more empty than when you started. The more you indulge, the less satisfied you become, and the deeper the chains of desire tighten. Lust thrives on control. It wants to dominate every part of your life. It starts with thoughts, grows into actions, and eventually controls your desires. You might feel helpless, as if you're powerless to stop it, but that's exactly what it wants you to believe. It whispers lies, convincing you that you can't live without it, that your desires are beyond your control. And that's the trick. The moment you believe you're trapped, you become its prisoner. But there's hope. Breaking free from lust's grip requires a conscious decision to stop feeding it. It takes courage to confront the lies and redefine your desire. When you choose to reject the false promises of lust, you take back control of your life. Freedom isn't just about stopping bad habits. It's about transforming how you view yourself, others, and your purpose in life. The road may be difficult, but the reward of true freedom is worth every step. Temptation isn't something that just happens. It's a carefully crafted moment designed to entice, to pull us in with promises of something better, something we think we deserve. In the very beginning, in the Garden of Eden, temptation wasn't merely a test of willpower. It was a moment of choice, a decision that would forever change the course of humanity. The serpent didn't force Eve into sin. He simply opened her eyes to what she thought was a better way, a shortcut to wisdom and power. And that's the deceptive nature of temptation. It doesn't look dangerous at first. It looks like opportunity. It's a whisper that says, you deserve this. Why not indulge? No one will know. In that moment, Eve made a choice. The fruit wasn't just about eating. It was about wanting more than what God had already given. The temptation to take control of her own destiny, to define what was good and evil, was irresistible. It wasn't just about defying God. It was about trusting in her own judgment over God's. Isn't that the nature of lust? It promises something we think we need, but the satisfaction it offers is always fleeting. Once you indulge, there's always a desire for more, until it consumes you completely. The fall didn't just affect Eve and Adam, it fractured everything. It introduced shame, guilt, and separation from the very Creator who had given them life. Before the fall, there was no fear, no shame, just trust and communion with God. But once they gave in to the temptation, the veil of innocence was torn. They realized they were naked, exposed, vulnerable. And isn't that how it feels when we give in to temptation? We lose something precious, our peace, our sense of self, our connection with God. Lust works in the same way. It promises fulfillment, but when we give in, it leaves us empty, ashamed, and distant. The choice to give in to it is never just a one-time event. It sets in motion a chain reaction that affects every area of our lives. Relationships are fractured, peace is lost, and the path to healing becomes more difficult. But the beauty of the fall is that it wasn't the end. Yes, the consequences were severe, but the story didn't stop there. There's a way back, a path to redemption, and it begins with recognizing the deception of temptation for what it truly is, understanding that we don't have to fall for the lie. And just like Eve, the choice is always ours. Do we trust God's way, or do we trust our own? Lust can feel all-consuming, like a wave that sweeps over you, taking everything in its path. It's tempting, it's powerful, and it promises satisfaction, yet it always leaves you hungry for more. But what if I told you that purity, true holiness, is the only thing that can bring lasting peace and fulfillment? Lust is the counterfeit, purity is the real thing, something that doesn't fade but only grows stronger with time. At first, lust can appear harmless. It might start with a glance or a fleeting thought, but over time it worms its way deeper into your soul. What begins as a small indulgence can quickly spiral into something much larger, something that controls not just your actions, but your entire mindset. It's like a parasite that feeds on your desires, growing stronger the more you give into it. But purity, on the other hand, doesn't need constant attention or validation. It's not a chase, it's a state of being, rooted in self-control, in honoring your body and mind, and in aligning with God's truth. The battle between lust and purity isn't a battle of strength, but of intention. Lust thrives in distraction, in moments where we forget who we are and what we are called to be. Purity, however, requires a focus, a commitment to live differently, to think differently. It means choosing to not let your desires dictate your actions, but to instead let your heart align with the higher call to holiness. It's about resisting the temporary gratification that lust offers in favor of the long-lasting fulfillment that comes from living in God's truth. But how do we get there? It starts with understanding that purity is not about perfection. It's about progress. You don't have to be flawless to be pure. You just have to be committed to the path, step by step. Every time you turn away from lust and choose purity, you're not only making a choice for your own well-being, but aligning yourself with the divine plan for your life. It's a choice to live with purpose, to not let fleeting desires steal the power and potential that God has placed within you. Purity isn't a restriction, it's freedom. It's freedom from the chains of lust, freedom from the hollow promises of instant gratification. When you choose purity, you step into the life that God intended for you, a life full of peace, of self-respect, and of deep lasting joy. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. And the more you commit to living purely, the stronger you'll become, not just in overcoming lust, but in living a life that's true to who you were created to be, ready to break free from lust. Discover the 7 biblical secrets to destroy lust before it destroys you. Don't wait. Grab your copy now through the link in the video description or pinned comment. Lust doesn't just affect us individually, it seeps into our relationships, slowly eroding the foundation of trust, intimacy, and love. At first it might seem harmless, a fleeting thought or momentary attraction, but when left unchecked it creates distance between partners, turning them from lovers into strangers. The first impact of lust on a relationship is its ability to distort true intimacy. Intimacy isn't just about physical connection, it's about emotional vulnerability, trust, and mutual respect. Lust, however, distorts this natural connection, focusing only on physical pleasure and selfish desires. Instead of cherishing the person before you, it turns them into an object, an image to be consumed. This objectification destroys the deep connection needed for a healthy relationship. Then there's the ripple effect on trust. When one partner is consumed by lust, it creates a hidden world of secrecy. Lies, betrayal, and broken promises begin to erode the relationship's foundation. Trust is no longer built on transparency but on concealment and deceit. What once was a secure bond begins to feel unstable, leaving both partners questioning each other's loyalty and intentions. And without trust, a relationship can only go so far before it starts to crumble. Lust doesn't just affect the emotional side, it also impacts the mental well-being of those involved. The constant pressure to meet unrealistic expectations, whether through comparison to others or by seeking out lustful fantasies, leaves individuals feeling inadequate. The cycle of desire, unmet expectations, and shame can drag both partners into a downward spiral. This internal struggle takes its toll on how they communicate, how they relate to each other, and ultimately, how they see themselves. What's worse, lust can breed a sense of entitlement and control. When one partner is driven by lust, they might begin to expect things from the other, whether it's physical attention or emotional validation. The desire is no longer mutual, it becomes a demand. Instead of being a partner, they become a tool to fulfill the other's desires. This creates a power imbalance, where love is replaced by manipulation, and genuine connection becomes a mere transaction. But the good news, relationships don't have to stay broken. Healing begins with understanding what's truly at the core of love: respect, trust, and vulnerability. By confronting lust head-on and replacing it with a pure desire to build one another up, it's possible to rebuild stronger, deeper, and more fulfilling relationships. Reclaiming the beauty of love, where both partners see each other as whole, not as objects, is the key to restoring what lust tries to tear apart. Lust is an addiction that sneaks into your life like a quiet, relentless force. It doesn't announce itself as a problem until it's already wrapped itself around your heart, controlling your thoughts, your actions, and your relationships. The deeper you fall into its grip, the harder it becomes to recognize the true cost it's taking on your life. But what if breaking free wasn't as impossible as it feels? The first step to freedom is recognizing the root of the issue. Lust isn't about the object of desire. It's about the emptiness inside you that it promises to fill. It creates a counterfeit satisfaction that never lasts, leaving you craving more. The more you indulge, the more you feed the beast, and soon, it consumes you. This cycle is what keeps you stuck, and understanding that it's a lie is your first victory. Now, breaking free starts with a simple yet profound shift in your mindset. Instead of viewing lust as something you deserve, or as a source of temporary pleasure, start seeing it for what it truly is, a destructive force that enslaves your mind. The real battle isn't in controlling your impulses, it's in transforming your thinking. It's about renewing your mind, shifting your focus from what you want in the moment to what you need in your heart. When you choose to reprogram your mind, you choose to take back control. This involves actively rejecting lustful thoughts, replacing them with something more meaningful. It's not easy. It requires conscious effort, a daily decision to live differently. But over time, as you embrace this new mindset, you'll begin to see the chains of lust loose. It no longer has the same power over you because you've stopped feeding it with your attention and your desire. Another powerful tool in breaking free is accountability. Lust thrives in secrecy and isolation. The more you hide your struggles, the more control it has over you. But when you bring it into the light, whether through prayer, confession, or honest conversations with trusted people, you strip it of its power. This isn't about shame. It's about freeing yourself from the darkness that keeps you trapped. Ultimately, the key to freedom is found not in self-control alone, but in shifting your focus from momentary gratification to lasting fulfillment. And that fulfillment comes from a deeper connection with your true purpose, one that isn't dictated by fleeting desires. The more you invest in your true identity, the less room there is for lust to dominate your life. It may not happen overnight, but with each step you'll feel the chains fall away. Lust doesn't define you. Your commitment to purity and purpose does. And that's where your true freedom begins. There's a power within you, a force that can break any chain, shatter any bond. It's not about willpower or self-discipline alone. It's about the victory that comes through Christ. When you're caught in the grip of lust, when it feels like you're trapped in a cycle of defeat, it can seem impossible to escape. But here's the truth. You don't have to fight this battle alone. Jesus didn't just come to show us the way. He came to break the chains that bind us. The victory we're talking about isn't just theoretical or distant. It's real, available and accessible to you right now. Christ didn't just save us for heaven. He saved us for freedom on earth. Freedom from the destructive desires that hold us back. When we choose to rely on His strength, His victory becomes ours. Think about it. What makes a chain so powerful? It's not the chain itself. It's the person who holds the key. Christ holds that key. His victory over sin, death, and the grave means that every stronghold in your life, including lust, can be overcome. It's not about suppressing your desires or pretending they don't exist. It's about surrendering them to Christ, allowing His power to break through and transform your heart. But this isn't just a one-time fix. It's a daily choice. The victory through Christ doesn't mean you'll never struggle again, but it does mean that the struggle is no longer yours to face alone. With Him you have the strength to say no to temptation, the wisdom to walk in purity, and the freedom to live without the shame and guilt that once held you captive. You don't have to be a slave to your desires. Christ has already paid the price for your freedom. Victory through Christ is about understanding that your identity is not defined by your struggles, but by His love and grace. It's about trusting that His power is greater than any addiction, greater than any temptation. When you embrace His victory, you're no longer fighting in your own strength. You're walking in the authority and freedom He's already won for you. This victory is not just for the strong, the perfect, or the spotless. It's for the broken, the weary, and the fallen. And when you choose to accept that victory, you'll find that there's nothing in this world that can hold you back. Through Christ, you are more than a conqueror. The battle against lust may feel overwhelming, but remember, it's not a battle you have to face alone. The victory is already yours through Christ. He has given us the strength, the wisdom, and the power to overcome every temptation, every desire that tries to enslave us. It's not about being perfect or never falling again. It's about understanding that through Him we are set free. Freedom is found in surrender, and when we let go and let Christ take control, the chains that once bound us to our desires are broken forever. It's easy to get trapped in the cycle of lust, thinking we're powerless, that we can never truly change. But that's the lie that keeps us stuck. The truth is, through Christ you have the power to change, to break free, and to live a life of purity and purpose. The victory He offers isn't just for the future. It's available to you right now. The question is, will you choose? Will you choose to walk in that freedom and embrace the strength that comes through Him? If you've struggled with lust, if you've found yourself trapped in the cycle of desire, there's hope. There's a way out, and it starts with understanding the biblical principles that can help you destroy lust before it destroys you. In my ebook, 7 Biblical Secrets to Destroy Lust Before It Destroys You, I've outlined the exact steps you need to take to break free from this powerful grip. These aren't just theoretical ideas. They are practical, proven secrets grounded in Scripture that can change your life. Don't let lust control you any longer. Take the first step toward lasting freedom today. You can find the link to my ebook in the description below. It's time to reclaim your life, your purpose, and your future. Get the tools you need to destroy lust before it destroys you. Check out the ebook now and begin your journey toward victory.